Hello there, my name is Tracy Guest, and I am the author of the Moyamoya Mom blog. Um, and so if you want to go check that out, it's at moyamoyamom.com. All right, so I am going to start coming live when I can, and I want to share my journey with Moyamoya. So first of all, let me introduce myself. Again, my name is Tracy Guest, and I have been married to my husband, Paul, for 25 years now. 26 next month in May. And we have 3 boys. They are, our oldest is currently out in the Midwest in Indianapolis doing his work term from school. It's an internship that he gets paid for, which is great because then he can pay for things he needs while he's out at school. And then he'll be going back to school for one more school term in July. So between work and school, he'll come home to visit, and we are so happy about that. He's also thinking about coming home for a while and working nearby, which I really hope that occurs. So I am looking forward to that. Yay! Anyway, so he, let's see, how old is he now? He just had a birthday, so that makes him 22? No, 23. Oh goodness, is he 23 already? My. Our middle son is 20 years old. He is living at home and working and doing lots of things that, busy young adults do. He's dating, so there's a girlfriend there, and it may be getting serious. We're not sure yet, but they are talking about things. So, but they're not in any hurry to get married. So, and I'm not in a hurry for them to get married either. Our youngest is 16, and he is attending high school. He's a sophomore, and that's it. Wow, 3. Not going to be long until our youngest is an adult either. Then I won't have any more babies. So they'll always be my babies, of course, but they'll be adult babies. All right. And my mom also lives with us, Mary. She lives here so we can take care of her as she grows older. And she's been with us since 2015. And I am very glad to have her around, definitely. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about how I was diagnosed with Moyamoya. So back in 2018, I started having headaches that were getting more frequent, more intense, more pain. I was having tingling here in my neck, which I learned was something else later, but it was really bothering me. And I was talking with some friends, and one of them mentioned a friend of hers who had some tingling somewhere, I forget, in her body, and it was discovered she had MS. So I was like, oh my goodness, I don't have MS, do I? Crazy. Anyway, so but then there was this one week in end of October, and I'd been waking up with the headaches. So, but one day I woke up with a headache and it didn't go away. The Tylenol minimized the pain, but it didn't go away. And so I talked with another friend of mine, and she said that I should have my head examined, literally. Like, go get a scan of my head, right? So I made an appointment to see a doctor. So that was Friday when I talked to her. So I made an appointment to see my doctor on Monday. And so I went in and I saw him and I told him all these things that I'm telling you now. And he said that he would order an MRI just to see what's going on, and see, even if it was just for peace of mind, do an MRI. So a couple days later, I went in and did the MRI, and he called me on a Friday. The MRI was Thursday, so he called me on Friday, and he said, I'm not sure what this is that I'm seeing on the MRI, but I'm going to refer you to neurology. It's like, oh, okay. So he referred me to neurology, and so I was waiting to hear from neurology the next week, and so on Tuesday, I developed symptoms that my head was hurting really bad. I mean, it was still hurting. This whole time is like my head was hurting. So, nonstop. Only, like I said, diminished with Tylenol and ibuprofen. And so so on Tuesday, I started having this heaviness in my right arm, and when I went to reach up to get something out of a cupboard, I couldn't keep it up there. It was really hard to keep it up there. And I thought, okay, that's not right. And so I went upstairs because I was down in the kitchen, and I went upstairs thinking, okay, I need to go in to be seen, like urgent care or something. And I woke up my son and told him, I need you to take me into urgent care or the hospital or something. And so I came back downstairs, and when I came back downstairs, everything was worse. My head felt worse. My arm was really heavy. I was having difficulty with my right leg, and so I sat down and went to grab my shoes and couldn't pick them up. So when he came downstairs, I told him, you better call an ambulance instead. And so he did that. They walked him through stroke, the FAST system, like face, smile, touch, and stuff. And then they came out and they assessed me, and my blood pressure was extremely high. I didn't have a whole lot of strength in my arm or leg on the right side, and I was having trouble talking. So they took me in, stroke protocol, and I ended up, they did the scans. They did CT scan, they did another MRI. It was not a stroke, but it was a TIA, which is a transient ischemic attack, which is also known as a mini stroke. And so basically that is a temporary thing. So there was no damage from that, but it's a warning sign. Okay. And so on that second, let's see, I want to say it was the second MRI, because they looked at the arteries, whereas the first MRI, they were just looking at the brain. But the second MRI, they looked at the arteries, and Moyamoya was mentioned in my lab report. So that happened. I was in the hospital a couple of days, and the doctor said, you have a narrowing in an artery in your brain. And I'm just staring at her like, what? What are you talking about? It's like, my husband asked questions. I forget what he asked and stuff, but it was like, it didn't register that there was something really wrong with my brain at that time. Anyway, so then I went home and I followed up with the doctor. I would say it was 2 weeks later. And she said at first that my diagnosis, she thought that I had arteriosclerosis, which is a hardening of the arteries in the brain. And she ordered a cerebral angiogram. And so then in December, I had a cerebral angiogram, and it was definitely, the doctor came out and told my husband, that artery is completely blocked. She's got Moyamoya. It's like, oh my goodness. So anyway, we saw him. So that was mid-December when I had that. We saw him early January, and we started talking surgeries. And he wanted to meet with his colleagues and just decide whether or not I needed a direct or an indirect surgery. And so that took a few weeks. And once they decided that it'd be better for me to have an indirect bypass, then my surgery scheduled for March 5th. So March 5th, I had my surgery on the left side of the brain. And then I'm here. So I'll talk about the surgery and all of that next time, and how that all went and stuff. But suffice it to say, in 2019, I had a surgery that was 5 years ago. I just celebrated that last month. And, I still have the scar. I still have, I have a dent in my head right here from the craniotomy, and stuff. So everything has gone well. It took a while for the blood vessels to grow off of the bypass, but I've done well. However, in the past year and a half, 2 years, I have had, and you may have read some of my health updates, but I've been having these episodes of lightheadedness that come on, and they've been getting more frequent. The different people that I have seen have done blood pressure studies. It's called orthostatics, where they take your blood pressure while you're lying down, then they take it when you're sitting up, then they take it when you're standing up. And usually if you're experiencing low blood pressure, because this is typically a low blood pressure a symptom, then that will it'll show up as a low blood pressure. You'll have the symptom, and then you'll need to sit down. But I didn't have the symptom while I was in the office, for one thing. Excuse me. Anyway, so suffice it to say that I had a repeat imaging. So I've had a CT scan, I've had an MRI, I've had a cerebral angiogram, I've had an EEG, and the cerebral angiogram showed some progression onto the right side and some narrowing in the carotid arteries. I don't remember if it was the internal or the external. I think it's the internal. Anyway, and so it may be, I haven't confirmed this with my doctor, but it could be that, when I'm standing up, and sometimes when I look up, that when I look up, since it's narrowing, that I'm having that lightheaded feeling. And then a lot of times if I'm reaching, because when I look up, I'm reaching up to get something off of a shelf or whatever, and then my right arm feels a little heavy. Now that has been new for in the past 3 months, 4 months, that my arm would get heavy. So I have that happening. And now last Saturday I had a TIA. And so we are going to be talking about surgery on Tuesday coming up, because it's obvious that I need another surgery. I've got blood flow delay on the left side, again, like I had before my first surgery. And so that's where I'm at. And so if you want to keep up with that and, you know, find out more about that, I have to say that with my blog, I haven't written anything new in quite a while, so I'm going to be looking at that this weekend and seeing, maybe putting some of this on the blog so that other people can read it that are not on Facebook. So anyway, so that's all I'm going to talk about today. And I'll be coming on periodically, actually live, to share, because I can tell more than I can write in a post by coming on live. So, alrighty. You guys have a good rest of your day, and I will talk at you later. Okay? Bye.